People's Chambers, as it's popularly called, is sensitive to the pulse of the people it hitherto represents. Every society provides a medium through which people can ventilate their grievances and obtain redress. The most common of such systems are the courts. However, unknown to many Nigerians, the National Assembly, through its committees on public petition, presents a special platform through which people can ventilate their grievances against the conduct of any public authority charged with the responsibility of administering laws made by the National Assembly or administering monies appropriated by the National Assembly. The 8th House of Representatives Public Petitions Committee, under the chairmanship of Honorable Uzoma Abonta, has since its inauguration been working tirelessly to ensure that all petitions brought before it are given necessary attention.
Public Petition Committee in the House serves as a reference point where grievances are being addressed. It's fashioned or had its history from the Presidential Bill of Rights in America, the Magna Carta, where people who are being trampled upon their funds of their human rights, they can now come for complaint and look at it by the Parliament. So more or less, you have people now who may have suffered one form of harassment or undue or lack of promotion, for example, or denial of promotion, unjust transfer, or unjust dismissal, or one form of oppression or the other. They also bring petition and will sit and look at it, investigate it, and see that their rights or grievances is being restored or made good. It's also applicable to the society at large, not just civil servants, but to a large extent is those whose rights are being trampled upon. So we sort of mediate and broker peace and bring succor to the downtrodden, particularly those who may not be able to go to court, particularly those who cannot afford to pay for justice from our legal system. Not to say that public petition will sit on that of our normal court. No, court have exclusive jurisdiction to handle specific matters as granted by the Constitution. But there are administrative matters, there are lots of administrative matters, most when it involves human rights, society and person and government and all whatnot, that we look into speedily without following strict, rigorous technicalities as you find in legal system. That's what we do, and that's what public petition is all about.
The Public Petition Committee is that committee that is set up by the House of Reps to listen to the petitions from the people we are representing, from the people that we are serving, so that we can listen to their petitions and find a way to resolve it. Because you see that in the court of law, there are so many cases lying there, waiting for justice, and we believe that justice delayed is justice denied. So here at the National Assembly, we have that committee to listen to the petitions of the people and resolve.
Well, the Public Petitions Committee in the House is a very, very important committee in the House. In that's a committee where the common Nigerians or Nigerians, or the totality of Nigerians, it's an avenue for them to use in ventilating their anger, their grievances, their complaints. If they don't want to follow the formal legal process, which is litigation, and of course we all know that costs a lot of money. So this is an avenue for them to let the representatives of the people, which we are, to say to them, this is our complaint, this is problems, what can you do? Step in. Because the committee has sort of like a quasi judicial role. So that's what we do at the committee level, and it's very, very important because it actually solves a lot of problems for the people.
Public petition is the ombudsman of the National Assembly. It is specifically set up to address issues arising from administrative injustices meted to individuals. We handle cases between individuals and organizations. We handle cases between organizations and organizations, individuals and the government, organizations and the government. So it is the busiest committee in the National Assembly, and the committee in the 2 years that we've been here as the 8th Assembly has brought succor to individuals, to groups, to organizations.
From unlawful dismissals to administrative injustice to ethnic disputes, pension matters, military occupation, human rights abuse, to all and any form of dissatisfaction felt by any member of the public.
Normally, I do not think there's limitation to what we can handle, public petition, but we can't be seen to be competing with courts. The Constitution exclusively gave courts the right of judicial adjudication. But however, if we see a conflict that is purely, that ought to be done by courts, we'll advise them, go to court. More so, if the contending parties are capable, able and willing enough to do that in court. But somebody who cannot afford a lawyer, and the matter borders on fundamental human rights, how will you tell you to go to court? Let me give you an example. There are a lot of cases on police brutality, where they claim police unjustly shot me, police unjustly did this and so on. It's also a matter for court, but we cannot shy away from such matter, where a policeman who should maintain peace and order now turns out to shoot. I'll give you a typical example. A man and a wife, they were in a keke, driving keke. A trigger-happy policeman just stopped them, shot and killed the wife there and then, and shot a bullet that tore off the man's jaw. And they came here for abuse of fundamental human rights and all whatnot. Of course, we made police, made good the hospital bills and all whatnot. And of course, they also did. So such a matter, are you going to tell the poor keke driver now to head to court? You're not going to. But should a corporate body now come up and begin to contend with another corporate body? Why are we going to waste our time here? Of course, you go to court and file the matter, except it borders again on Nigerian survival. What do I mean by that? Our security and good governance and all whatnot. For example, if you now allege that such corporate bodies now is breaching a known act, for example, you have local content law, for example, and if some brings a petition said that AYZ company is in breach of local content law, we'll go into it to see is it true. For example, immigration quotas and all whatnot and so on, or evading tax and all whatnot. That is not very topical with us. You see a lot of people also coming to complain against bank operations, hidden things and so on. We looked at it. All we need to do is to call the regulating agencies like Central Bank to say, go find out and give us a detailed account of what is the matter.
The House Committee on Public Petition of the 8th Assembly operates a flexible procedure devoid of the technicalities and rigors of courtroom drama. This wonderful platform is free, time efficient, and its sittings are conducted in a free environment that allows people the opportunity to speak their minds. This is the avenue where helpless Nigerians bring their grievances to be heard.
First of all you need to do is put down your complaint, your petition. Of course, attach the relevant documents because at all times we must be bound by the documentary evidence. Of course, we do take oral evidence, but we also rely heavily on documentary evidence. So what you need to do is write a petition to the House. What you do is you have to route it through a member, because it must be presented on the floor of the House by a member. There's no individual that doesn't have a rep. So you route it through your rep, and your rep will present it on the floor of the House. When that is done, it's now referred to us, the Committee on Public Petitions. So assuming you don't know your rep, really you should know your rep, because this is a democracy. That's why we must all start to interact and get involved in politics, as opposed to sitting somewhere and complaining. So really everyone should know his or her rep, you know. And assuming for one crazy reason you don't, you must know a rep in the House, you know, that you can now route it through. So this is also a way to make people get involved in the whole process. Because some people might say, okay, I don't have money to go to Abuja. You don't need to go to Abuja. There's no rep that does not have an office in their various constituencies. You can take it there and it will be sent to the rep. And once you follow, and of course you follow up, and it must definitely be presented on the floor of the House.
However, in order to reduce the stress and the problem of accessibility, we also do what we call online petition, whereby you can send in your petition to the Speaker directly or even to the committee, even by postage. And however, upon the receipt of it, we cause it to be laid at the House and then refer to the Committee on Public Petition. We look at it, and if we see one, the petitioner must be known with a definite address, identifiable, and a genuine complaint, and against existing person, parastatal, corporate, or individual. Then when we substantiate all these facts, then we invite the complainant and the respondent to come and join issues and look at the matter.
Known as one of the busiest committees in the National Assembly, the House Committee on Public Petition of the 8th Assembly has considered over 1,000 petitions since its inauguration and holding hearings that stretch into the night.
Yes, if a public petition is the busiest committee of the House, and likewise a committee like Rules and Business, we're always up and doing, because Rules and Business will see that the sitting of the House. While public petitions, we've received more than 1,000 petitions since, and we have successfully completed over 500 of the petitions. So you can see that it is the effective committee whereby the House and the public get contacts. If you feel the pulse of the people through the public petition, we've been able to restore a lot of people that were unjustly dismissed without reason. That impunity. You see, Nigeria, we are yet to come in terms of democratic values, that you can't just wake up and do things anyhow without regards to due process. For example, if you come to civil service, there are rules laid down for you to terminate appointment of a senior officer, junior officer, and all whatnot. You see, in some cases, people who were, for one reason or the other, they were terminated without sufficient reasons. And if we see that the basic principles of natural justice were not in there, for example, you see one accuser sitting on a panel over somebody he accused, is not being a judge in your own case. If we see such things, we reverse that. In some cases, the petitioner or respondents were not even invited. If they have a case against, they should invite you to say what happened. When we find such things, we will reverse it. So we have restored quite a lot of persons that were obviously unjustly removed, and they can no longer approach court because they were caught with statute bar, time bar, and all that. But unfortunately for us, even if you is 10 years old and you can prove that you were unjustly treated, the House will look into it, will give you the political solution it requires. So we have, as a matter of fact, brought in quite a lot of persons. Let me give you a typical example. In PPRO, I remember that one very well. They were doing rationalization and they were searching files. They came to a file of a staff who apparently had 2 different certificates of birth. Without calling that person to come and say, how come you have these 2? They went ahead and terminated. and she brought the petition. And the issue is, couldn't have been somebody who put it in her secret file, since she had no access to the secret file. Was it not necessary to have called the victim then to say, how come you have this? When we're not searching, for example, in absence of that, we have no option to say, go and revisit the matter or resolve such a thing in favor of the oppressed. There are a lot of, out of the 1,000 something petitions, most of them are disputes arising from either non-promotion, unjust sack, and particularly even during the military era, the people had to hide under the draconian omnibus laws and rationalized a lot of persons, including the forces. We had some soldiers return to the to the army, about 29 colonels, who fought and won gallantry awards, only to come back and they put one reason that, will you promote somebody, decorate that person on gallantry award, only to say he's also not fit again to be in the army. For example, an active soldier fighting and sustained injury, they will come back and say you're not fit to serve without taking care of the injuries. I thought I would say the labors of our heroes past shall not be in vain. So when we find that somebody wants to make the labors of our heroes past to be in vain, we will say no, let us restore it so that we too in service will be encouraged. If we see that people are properly addressed, recognized, and given the due preference based on their service, then we'll also be encouraged to work harder.
I tell you, we have done a lot. When you sit almost every day and sit late, you're not joking? Yeah. You know, we have actually done very well, I must say that. We have done very well. We still have a lot of work to do, but we have done well. Because what can you do? Are we going to sit on Sundays? You know, we sit almost every day and we do long hours and we really, really look at the matters. Mainly because we are lawyers, so we look at the matters the way it will be looked at in court. So it takes time to look at a particular case, you know, but we work the cases just the way it will be worked in court. You see what I'm saying? So we are actually very, very, you know, alive to our responsibility. You know, and I'm very happy with the chairman and other members of the committee because we are committed to making sure that we play a great role, to making sure that we address injustice, well, alleged injustices, because until we determine whether there was injustice or not. So we try to make sure that we address all the alleged injustice and determine if truly there's an injustice. So we are really working, we are doing very well, you know, and what can I say? I see it as our responsibility anyway, because we are here to represent the people, you know, and Nigerians in general. So we are doing very well actually.
The committee in the 2 years that we've been here as the 8th Assembly has brought soccer to individuals, to groups, to organizations. Most of the cases that we handle these days are cases arising from dismissals of individuals, people for unjust cause, just being sacked from their works by their bosses who don't like their faces. And after we invite all parties to come before us, when they come, we listen to them, we collect evidences, and then we rule in favor of. When a petition has substance, we accept it, we treat it, and individuals are either restored onto their jobs, or if it's a dismissal, we commit it to retirement with benefits. Of recent, there are a number of military men who are sacked, who are demobilized just because they did not pass a written examination. And these people have been have fought many wars. They have been to the war front. Some of them lost their limbs. We thought that passing an exam, a written exam, you can, when you fail an exam, you are given the opportunity to write. You don't retire. Somebody who has gone to war, some of them have lost their legs, some of them have lost their arms in the war front. And you just don't sack someone just because he failed a written exam once. So we brought them back onto the service. There are a lot of cases like that. Organizations and organization groups like the Niger Delta people, a lot of them, activities of international oil companies have impacted negatively on their environment. We examine those cases where there are genuine cases of environmental pollution. We order for redress.
We've looked at a petition that has to do with the Federal Road Safety Corps, and we've looked at petitions involving the Nigerian police and Nigerians. To be specific, that of the Federal Road Safety Corps has to do with, there are so many of them, but I can tell you just one now of the Federal Road Safety, where they hired towing vehicle to tow any vehicle that is probably causing obstruction or whatever. And the reason why the person that brought that petition actually brought the petition to the house has to do with why must they be collecting money from vehicle owners and be paying to an account that does not belong to Federal Road Safety. It was a funny, and cunning petition, which we actually looked into, and I don't think we've finished about that case now. And we've looked at a petition that has to do with the Nigerian police in the area where a woman, I've forgotten her name now, from Lagos, that was dismissed unlawfully, and which the police looked into. The police looked into it, and they reinstated her. But despite the fact that the police commission and the IG directed that the woman should be reinstated, up till we speak, they have not reinstated that woman. And we looked into that petition, and we both, the Nigerian police, the woman, and the committee, we looked into it, and we laid our report back to the house that the woman should be reinstated. So there should be regard for the rule of law in this country. I see no reason why those agents that are supposed to be enforcing laws are the ones that will be, disobeying the laws. So there are so many of such. The petition came where somebody was murdered, and we looked into it, finding facts. They brought to us a report of a report from the doctor saying the person died out of shock or something of that nature. You find out that report was a false report. The report did not emanate from the doctor. So we are still looking into that. All sorts of petitions, all sorts. There were some involving FIRS. There were some involving one Chinese company that, we are still looking into it. We were told that the Chinese company defrauded the FIRS in the area of paying their taxes, and another Chinese company which did business with one gentleman in Lagos. I think that has to do with CNC. We are still looking into it. Just imagine that situation where the company agreed that they did business together, and the amount involved in this business has to do with about 1.4 million. Why are they running away from paying the young man his money? It's CNC. CNC is the name of that company. I can still recollect that very well because the case is still on. So we are looking into it. They said, okay, they've agreed this and that, but it's still the young man is still the only person coming in respect of that. The respondents, which is CNC, is still running away from National Assembly, from the committee. So there are so many cases like that. But one thing I want to say here is that Nigerians may not be aware of such a committee, the Public Petition Committee, and it is important for them to be aware. Wherever they find out injustice being done them, they should run to the committee at the National Assembly. The committee is for them. I mean, what we are trying to do is to ensure that in this democratic government, the rule of law is obeyed.
With over 200 cases treated and several grievances solved, this committee is indeed a reflection of legislative service and representation.
My name is Kenneth Nikel. I'm from Benue State. I had an issue in 2014 in my office pertaining a seminar we did in a local Jazon office. After the incident, I met with my representative, Honorable Mark Bila, representing Gwe East, Gwe West Federal Constituency. And I discussed the issue with him, and he encouraged me to forward a written petition to the Honorable House through the Committee of Public Petition. So I did that. That was in December 2014. So I brought the petition through my representative, who laid the petition to the floor of the House. I was summarily dismissed from my job without any fair hearing or any queries. So I met with my honorable member representing Gwe West, Gwe East Federal Constituency, and I discussed the issue with him. So he encouraged me to formally write to the Honorable House, and I submitted to him the committee. The petition was laid in December 2014. So that was how I brought my case in. Before I came to the committee, I explored other avenues. I actually went to a Public Complaints Commission. I made inquiries, I wrote a petition. Actually, I did not submit because I was discouraged by the bureaucracy in the place. From the details I got, I was discouraged. Then I also wrote and submitted a petition at Brekete Station, that Brekete Family Station. Submitted it in April 2014. But up to that December, there was no response from that angle. So, since I was not getting any swift response, I have to meet my honorable member. So I tabled the issue before him, who now gave me the go ahead to approach the House with my petition. When I was called, I was a bit furious because watching the House on television is a bit intimidating. So, but when I came, it was not that difficult. I came with the brief. They asked us to do a brief. So I did a brief. I submitted a brief. So through my lawyer, it was through the brief that we approached the public hearing. After the hearing, there was laying of report according to what I was watching on television, laying of reports, consideration of the reports. Then after the consideration, the National Assembly now sent a letter to my organization through the National Assembly clerk. And I've been recalled back to my job. I want to say alternative dispute resolution through the National Assembly is the best. Other avenues would have been delayed. Maybe I wouldn't have gotten justice by now. But I submitted my petition in December, and in 2015, December, my issue was treated. That is just a 1-year duration. So I think this alternative dispute resolution mechanism that the National Assembly has employed, I think is helping, is the best. I encourage Nigerians to make use of it because it's less expensive, it's less bureaucratic, and it's less time consuming. So I think the beneficiary is the best.
I am Mr. C.O. Agbikini. I hail from Sapele in Delta State, worked in NEPA. By 2002, our system, I was the computer center manager of the billing center in Aba. Our system was to be upgraded to higher capacity, the hardware. And the contractor that was given the job came in and got the system installed that was awarded to him. In truth, I was given the pro forma to go through after the installation as acclaimed by them. They now asked me, my zonal computer center manager now asked me to approve that the system had been fully and completely installed. At that point, I now reminded my computer center manager, one mic, that some of the items that were brought along with the hardware were fake. And that I, being the end user, I had no mind. I couldn't have go back to NEPA to say these items are bad, no sooner they are installed. More so, this is same me who was also sponsored in my higher school by the authority. So even if I'm not an angel, I should have the consciousness in me not to swap what have been paid for a fake item. While we were dealing with that, I was given a brand envelope. In truth, I never opened it as to know the content. It's not the quantum of amount that was in it that was the issue in contest. Rather, I needed the original items as paid by NEPA to be installed. Consequently, I now told my zonal computer manager, Mike, that I can't approve of this thing except this thing, the proper thing is done. 2 weeks after, I was given a query that fraud took place in my center. No sooner that query was given to me, I was interdicted immediately and I now left the office. They claimed to carry out investigation. That investigation lasted for almost 2 years before they finally gave me a termination letter in 2004. Having given me that termination letter in 2004 January, I I felt that was not correct enough, because for termination letter to be issued in line with the public service rule and even in line with NEPA rules, I ought to have even been given 3 warnings. Written warnings, 3 warnings, and that never took place because they said that I was inefficient. That was why those things that I reported did happen. Yes, if it is issue of inefficiency, the rule on how to go about such stuff is there, and that is query. Then, being the first query I ever got, the worst that would have happened to me by our rules and the public service rule would have been warning. Rather than doing that, they went ahead to terminate my appointment or to avenge for the fake pass I refused to accept. I now reported the case to the Public Complaint Commission in Umuahia, PCC. At Umuahia end, letter was sent to the head office to respond, and at a point, the commissioner of PCC at Umuahia clearly told me at a point that I should think of how to look for another job, that the people are difficult, that yes, we saw your plight, but it's like there's nothing we could do. And I requested of her to reduce that into writing. Since I came in writing, then I should be given a paper. That she never did. Luckily enough, in course of solving my problem, I still remembered that there's this National Assembly who could entertain issues of this nature, and that is Public Petition Committee. Luckily for me then too, I had a very passionate House of Representative member, one Honorable Overa, and I went to him. In truth, before then, we never met one-on-one. I presented my case before him, and he quickly requested me to put it in writing. That I did. And the Honorable Overa took it up, submitted late, and I appeared before the committee in 2007. The committee sat over it. I was invited up to 2-3 different occasions. So also PACN. Then it has transformed from NEPA to PACN in 2007. At the end of the whole hearing, they ordered that my appointment should be restated and my entitlement should be given to me, knowing full well that entitlement includes rights and privileges. Having returned grudgingly, that resolution was taken in 2008. PACN never deemed it fit to issue me letter of restatement in 2010, when it became clear to them that the House was at the verge of stopping them from defending their budget in 2010. Having heard that, they now grudgingly sent me in. They now gave me the restatement letter, and behold, in August 2010, I now resume my duties. Yes, I clearly have stated this issue of complaints with Nigerians on, what do I call it now, impunity that is in reign in our government offices. Yes, the House Committee of Public Petition is there. You don't even need to know your House of Reps member from your locality, because I went into the committee chairman office and submitted, and the committee office took it up. The clerk, who I never met one-on-one of that committee, took it up. Behold, the matter was resolved until this current hinge, where the Ministry of power is saying that must not be implemented.
Anchoring on the passion of the chairman, Honorable Uzoma Abonta, this assiduous committee is however not relenting on their oars, as they say they have only just begun.
If you think your fundamental human rights has been breached in any form or shape, please do bring petition. Except people begin to, it's the door that creaks, it gets oiled. People should begin to complain of their rights and shout. That the only way we can curb that is to complain aloud, is to have your matter complain. But otherwise, if you keep silent about it, then you'll die in it. And others can learn from experience of other persons. So we should raise it. We should raise it. Justice is for all. And I want to tell them, the House of Reps, National Assembly, through the public petition, is positioned to address injustice at the nooks and crannies of Nigeria. So long as we get a complaint, so long as we know what is happening, and there's no way we can also know what is happening if there are no complaints. So the aggregate of these complaints will help also the House to know where to now either amend the laws or seek a new law, or also advise government for the executive adjustments.
According to an old Swahili proverb, service to the people is the greatest service of all.